Episode 20 of Ralph's Stuff includes West Asheville to Brevard Road, a short but historic trip. Camera crane, some new equipment I have that I want to show off, and even more new equipment and helmet cam test. Some test of a small, tiny camera that does a mighty big job. Well, howdy, folks. You're saying to yourselves, wait a minute. This is not Tex Ralph's Westerns. That's on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. here on Channel 20. And you're entirely correct. I just got a new hat and I thought I'd wear it and give me a chance to promote my Western show also. But we have 3 shows on Channel 20. This, of course, being episode 20 of Ralph's Stuff. I really do appreciate you watching my shows. I especially thank you for all the good comments I've heard. And as long as you enjoy it, we'll keep doing it. So this is Ralph Roberts on Channel 20, URTV in Asheville, North Carolina. Support public access TV. Thank you, Pard. Rapid Ralph here. And you can watch my show, Traveling the Roads of Western North Carolina, Saturdays at 6 p.m. here on Channel 20, URTV. However, this is just a short test, testing a camera setup and going through the environs of West Asheville. So I thought I'd include it in Ralph's Stuff rather than trying to fit it into one of my regular road programs, which simply, this is simply too short a segment for that. I'd been up on Roaring Fork in Yangtze County on business, and in fact that segment will appear on Rapid Ralph. And I'd stopped at one of the fast package delivery places in West Asheville and turned in the documents I needed to send off, and decided to go on over to Brevard Road to see one of my fellow URTV producers and who had bought some new equipment, and I wanted to check it out. And we were moving on up through West Asheville toward Westwood Place. It's one of our local police officers. And we definitely support the police and the sheriff's department. Those folks do fine work under very adverse conditions. We respect and salute them. Okay, now I'm turning on to Westwood Place. What I'm testing in this segment is a new way of mounting my camera. And right there is a good example. It shakes just a little bit. So I've already discarded that method and won't be using it anymore. However, it's not so bad that to keep this short segment off the air for one of my 58-minute shows, I think it could get a little old, just occasional shake. So Westwood Baptist Church on the right. Lots of Baptist churches in Buncombe County. I think there's 150 or something like that. I was raised a Baptist, like many local people here in Buncombe County, in western North Carolina, God's country. And we're continuing on up Westwood Place toward Haywood Road. West Asheville originally was a separate town from Asheville, and Asheville does tend to glom onto other areas, and West Asheville became part of Asheville, as did many other areas, and they're still trying to annex. We are not a proponent of annexation. It's involuntary, and I think people should at least be allowed to vote on it. That's my political statement for today. And over on the left, I should have mentioned that not that building, but the previous block. I used to work for 2 years. I worked there. In fact, since the publications are now defunct, I can mention them. We can't do too much commercial-wise on public access TV, but this was some over 20 years, well over 20 years ago, when I edited a monthly newspaper called the Carolina Veterans News, long since defunct, and also did a national tabloid for fans of B-Western movies called the Sagebrush Journal. And I had a whole lot of fun doing that one. Some of you may also watch Tex Ralph's Westerns on 8 p.m. here on Channel 20. And while I was editing the Sagebrush Journal, I got to meet many of the old B-Western stars and interview them. People like Elisha LaRue and Sunset Carson, Arkansas Slim Andrews, Will Hutchins, who played Sugarfoot back in the 1950s on TV, and many, many others. Also, at the same time, I was learning how to typeset and put photos in papers using big copy cameras, and lots of other stuff that came in very handy when I became a book publisher with my own company. So that was very good. Now we're coming up here to Brevard Road, and we're going to turn left. By the way, West Asheville's changed dramatically since I was growing up in the 50s. And even though we lived outside town on the farm, this area was very much supportive of agriculture, and there were even a tractor dealer here on the Ferguson. Oops, I can't say that, but well, yeah, I can. They're out of business. The Ferguson Tractor Company, which has long since been bought up by another company and merged, was our tractor dealer, and we had a old Ferguson 20 that was built in 1950 and did quite well, except it broke down a lot because it was old and worn out when we got it, but it's the best that my dad could afford. We was poor, as were many people in Western North Carolina at that time. So we'd come to West Asheville quite often to pick up parts or to for the tractor. And what was the point I was making? Oh, it's that West Asheville's changed dramatically. A lot of new folk have moved in over the last couple of years whose ways are, well, I'll say it, weird. But there's some neat little restaurants and stuff we like to eat at, so there are benefits to new people. I'll probably think of one or two others over the next few months. Sorry. But anyway, on down Brevard Road, this is the part of Brevard Road that's still in West Asheville. And we'll be coming down here and crossing I-240 very shortly. And proceeding on to our destination. A little dark and overcast now. In fact, it was snowing up on Roaring Fork in Yancey County when I was, just prior to this, when I was coming down. And we'll come around the curve. Now over to the right is the National Guard Armory, although we can't see it here. Those guys do a great job also. As a matter of fact, I was in the regular Army. I'm a Vietnam veteran. And after I got out of the regular Army, I was actually in the National Guard for several years. I was their intelligence sergeant at the headquarters for the Military Police Battalion here in Asheville. And if I'd stayed in, I probably could have gone to Afghanistan and Iraq and other interesting places, but I'd already done my combat time, and I'm not sorry I missed that. But seriously, I really do respect the guys who go over there and fight, and I say very sincerely, support our troops. They go in harm's way. I'm not saying support the politicians, I say support the troops. I think the politicians in both parties are drastically wrong, but hey, that's just my opinion. Again, dark and overcast as we come up. We're crossing I-40 now, and the farmers market's over on the left. Always an interesting place to visit. It's got a lot of good produce and stuff that the farmers bring in and sell at the farmers market. That's why they call it that. Farmers market originally used to be down on Lexington Avenue. Very few of you will remember that, but when I was growing up it was there. In fact, my grandfather worked in the farmers market on Lexington Avenue, and we'd go by and buy watermelon from him occasionally. Make sure he's still doing okay. He was in his 70s then. He was one of those old mountain farmers who would never stop. Even after he retired, he had to keep working at something. Matter of fact, he worked on Lexington and lived up in the boarding house that is now the old Kentucky home, Thomas Wolfe's home place. Well, not his home place, but the place that the boarding house that his mother owned, and he made famous in some of his novels. And of course, back then it was just an old junky boarding house. And my grandpa lived there because he couldn't afford much better. But times, they are a-changing, as Bob Dylan says. And we're going on out Brevard Road. This section of Brevard Road is in the process of becoming, and I read an article recently in a local paper about a motor mile. That's a car dealership on the right, but there's also at least two more big car dealerships in the process of construction, and another one on down the way a little bit here. So all the car dealers seem to be gravitating to Brevard Road, which is not too bad because it is readily accessible from both I-40 and I-26. Okay. And speaking of I-26, we're getting ready to move across it. We are moving across it as we come under the bridge here. I-26 and I-40, about half a mile from here, and also I-240 form what's called Malfunction Junction, which is a place that's quite often overwhelmed by traffic. We really need 6 lanes per side through Asheville. I know that's not something that's popular, but it's something that's necessary because so many people moved into town. The traffic now, the roads now cannot handle the traffic we have. Imagine what it's going to be like in 4 or 5 years, especially as I-26 becomes more and more used since it's being completed on up into Tennessee. It's a serious problem, and our state government's moving rather slowly in solving it and getting a lot of opposition for what they do try. So, make that 8 lanes aside. Yeah. Move that traffic on through here. We don't want them stopping. We got too many people now, right? I know many of you disagree with that, but that's my opinion. Of course, I'm like old Daniel Boone was reputed to have said that if you can see the smoke of your neighbor's fire, it's time to move on. And you could see smoke for several miles coming up from a cabin's stone chimney. Okay. Big mall over on the left and other built commercial outfits. But we're going to ignore them, go on through the intersection, and head on down Brevard Road. Now, if you stay on this road, you go to quick. Brevard, yeah, right. And interesting places beyond that. Also, you can go to Hendersonville this way. It's a good way to duck the traffic on I-26. It may not be quite as fast as. Well, actually, often when I-26 is clogged up, it's much faster to go this way and bypass 26 than it is to get out in the midst of all the big belching trucks and so forth. This is a very scenic drive, especially on beyond here where it runs along the river and then goes cross country to Brevard. So I recommend this as one of the drives everyone who lives in Asheville now should make just become familiar with the area.
Your favorite place? Okay, will do.
And we're almost at our destination.
Not worried about it. Okay, I'll be over shortly. I'm just back from Yancey County and figuring out when to go home. Okay, bye. Bye.
Of course, I hadn't eaten all day, so I had to pop in to get a snack here. This is my lunch. So we're coming up to the end of this segment. And we move on to my new camera crane. Now, a camera crane is used to get dramatic shots. You see the moving shots that you use. That's the dolly down there that it rolls on. It's called the dolly. And the camera crane's also sometimes called a camera jib. You'll see those dramatic shots in the movies a lot. Now this is actually with the camera mounted on the crane and doing one of those dramatic shots. This is looking at my editing suite, and I'm in the process there of editing a Rapid Ralph Runs the Roads number 3. It's the third program in the series. This is my $1,000 microphone, but I paid a great deal less than that for it at one of the local pawn shops. In fact, I'm speaking on that microphone right now and doing this voiceover. It's a wonderful microphone, makes even my voice sound good. Now, it needs all the help it can get. This is my office, by the way. One of my offices, the one I do my video editing in. That's out near Bryson City. During one of my trips. And basically, I'm just testing the camera crane. It came in. This was filmed yesterday. February the 19th.
So I had to drive through downtown Bryson City.
And again, the camera crane had just come in. I wanted to test it, and how better to test it than doing a segment for Ralph's Stuff. Ralph's Stuff number 20. That's what this is. My coat and hat hanging on the wall. This is Mercer, one of the many elephants that we collect. Mercer has magnetic feet and hangs around on the yarn post there. That's Charlie. Charlie's my production computer. I do typesetting of books and stuff on him. One of Tex Ralph's hats, he has several. That's a Stetson I bought in, oops, can't say that, I'll have to go back and take it out. But I bought that hat in Cave Creek, Arizona when I was out there on business a few years ago. So it's a souvenir of Arizona. My big studio camera, my very messy counter that I need to clean up, and in fact, since this was shot, have cleaned it up considerably by putting things away like I should have when I finish using them. That's one of the alarm sensors. And I'm just moving the camera from high to low. Now here the cameras run along the floor below the chair level, then coming up. So you can do dramatic shots, and I'm sure as I practice I'll get better and better at using it. Old trunk that belonged to my dad back in the 40s. In fact, one of my relatives last year says, "I have a trunk your dad left with your aunt in World War II. Would you like it?" Well, yeah. It's got lots of interesting things in it. I learned some things about my relatives I didn't know. This is my one of my trash cans. Whoops. Like I say, as I learn how to use this camera, I'll get camera crane. I'll get better and better. The big video editing computer is named Bigfoot, by the way. It's more of our elephants that we collect. That's Corduroy in the foreground and Marcus the marketing elephant. That's Taft. He ran for president last time, probably will again. I'd rather vote for an elephant than anyone the two major political parties put up. That's interesting. You can zip from ceiling height to floor height in just a flash with this. Some more of my editing equipment. That's microphone sitting on top of a microphone preamp, although it's not the one I'm using at this moment. I've gotten a better one since then. Throughout western North Carolina. I think I paid like $20 for that microphone preamp, but I produced 70 some hours of voiceover here on this channel. That's my new microphone preamp over there. In fact, it's the same one as Channel 20 has in its studio, or the same make. It's not quite as big as that one, but I picked it independently. I was glad to see Channel 20 has the same technical knowledge and taste I do too. Just kidding, Paul. You're really good. Paul has been the technical guru at Channel 20 for quite some time. He's done an excellent job. Although he's moving on to other pursuits now, we want to tell him how much we appreciate him. So I'm very pleased again with the camera crane. If I can quit hitting the trash can. This is a rifle case. But I didn't buy it to put a rifle in. I bought it because it's nice and foam lined and was $30, and I carry camera equipment in it. Of course, being a good old boy here in western North Carolina, I do have a few long guns and some short ones too. Now we're outside trying it. This is, for those of you who watch Rapid Ralph Run the Roads, this is the Lieutenant Colonel that was shock and awe. He's the one that carries me around all over western North Carolina. There's the camera mount on the window on the right hand side over there. That's where I put the camera. And we're looking at the outside of my office where we were inside just a minute ago, just behind this wall. I need to pressure wash the siding, don't I? Now I'm deliberately shooting into the window here to show my reflection, and you can see the camera crane in action as I go up above the window and then come down. You can do some really dramatic shots, and if you watch some of the movies, you'll see where it comes down and looks in a window, and the viewpoint changes dramatically. Now we're going back along the Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel. Very fine vehicle. I've been very pleased with him. Using the camera crane is very nice. You can swing down and look under the car, and film all sorts of viewpoints that would be very hard if you were just trying to move the camera around while you had it in your hands. Much smoother, much easier to do. So we went from underneath the car and we're looking up on top of it now. And you can see the building. And here we pause for a moment because I can't show you the brand of the car. You'll have to guess at it. And we go on now. So, looking, we go up, we go down, and there we are again in the window. You can see what I'm doing and how easy it is to move the camera around at different levels. That's the lens cap dangling from it. I should have wrapped it around something so it wouldn't be flopping all over the place. And looking back over my driveways, my maple trees, which unfortunately are during the winter have no leaves. They're very pretty in the spring and summer though. And we're up above the window. This particular version of the camera crane goes up to it. Probably around 10 feet or so in height. If you run the tripod up a little bit more, it'll go up 10 feet. It's an 8-foot camera crane. Another recent purchase off of an online auction is a helmet cam. Those are the little cameras you see used in race cars and on the helmets of skateboarders and quarterbacks in football games and things like that. It's extremely small, about 2 inches long and maybe half an inch in diameter, but it does a really good job. I'm going to mount it on the outside of the Lieutenant Colonel for another viewpoint during rapid Ralph runs the roads. We might have it down low where it shows the wheels some, and up high, and maybe even looking in the windshield where you can see Rapid Ralph. There are all sorts of ways to use it. But this was a test and it worked very well. Go to RalphWRoberts.com to see this show again.